begin this meeting. Help us to engage in meaningful discussion and allow us to grow closer as a group and nurture the bonds of community. We ask this in your son's name, Jesus. Amen. Amen. Please turn, face the flag. Thank you. Please be seated. Ms. Smith, are there any additions or deletions to tonight's agenda?
No, so they're not.
I need a motion to approve the agenda, please. So moved. Thank you, Mr. Church. Have a second, please. Thank you, Mr. Hall. All those in favor, please raise your right hand and say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Yeah. Front and center, please.
There are some open seats up here. For you. Yeah, I think for the pictures, I think two, you guys have been there. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Can you hear me?
No. Yeah. Hurry up before the music stops.
Well, I'll be there the next dance.
You raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name.
Robert Ray Jones,
As the fire chief of North Wilkesboro Fire Department,
the fire chief of North Wilkesboro Fire Department,
swear that I will support
where I support
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and the laws of the state of North Carolina,
and the laws of the state of North Carolina,
not inconsistent therewith,
not inconsistent therewith,
that applies to the North Carolina
that apply to the North Carolina
Fire Prevention Codes,
Fire Prevention Code,
and I pledge to carry out
and I pledge to carry out
the duties as fire chief
the duties of fire chief
to the best of my ability,
to the best of my ability,
and will honor and respect
and will honor and respect
mission, goals, purpose,
mission, goals, and purposes
and policies of the North Wilkesboro Fire Department,
of the North Wilkesboro Fire Department,
and that I will not be influenced
and I will not be
in any manner
in that
on account of personal bias or prejudice,
in
on account of personal bias
account of the personal bias
or prejudice, right? And I will faithfully and impartially
and I will faithfully and impartially
execute the duties of my office
execute the duties of my office
as fire chief
as fire chief
of the North Wilkesboro Fire Department,
of the North Wilkesboro Fire Department,
according to the best of my skill,
according to the best of my skill,
abilities, and judgment.
abilities, and judgment.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations, Chief Judge. You want to have them sign now?
Yes.
Hey, Rob, Chief?
Sign. Yeah, you can.
Officer Rosenberg? Bring anybody.
Mom's got it up there.
Yeah.
He's on their picture.
Okay. You got it. Stand on the Bible, raise your right hand, repeat after me. I state your name,
I, Cole Rosenberg,
solemnly swear
solemnly swear
that I will support and maintain
that I will support and maintain
the Constitution and laws of the United States
the Constitution and laws of the United States,
and the Constitution and laws of North Carolina,
the Constitution and laws of North Carolina,
not inconsistent therewith,
not inconsistent therewith,
that I will be alert and vigilant
that I will be alert and vigilant,
and enforce the criminal laws of this state,
and enforce the criminal laws of this state,
that I will not be influenced
that I will not be influenced
in any manner on account of personal bias
in any manner on account of personal bias
or prejudice,
or prejudice,
and I will faithfully and impartially
and I will faithfully and impartially
execute the duties of my office
execute the duties of my office
as a police officer with the North Wilkesboro Police Department,
as a police officer of the North Wilkesboro Police Department,
according to the best of my skill, abilities, and judgment.
according to the best of my skill, abilities, and judgment.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations, Officer Murphy.
Yeah, we're excited to have you on the team. We'll go make copies and then we'll make sure you get a copy. Yeah.
You did.
Nice to meet you.
Congratulations.
Accommodations, yeah, those they can have. Yeah.
Is Officer Ryan Blair here?
Yeah. Step up, please.
It's my honor and pleasure to read a letter of commendation for Officer Ryan Blair. Over the past year, Officer Ryan Blair has shown true leadership capabilities in his job as a patrol officer with the North Wilkesboro Police Department. He has transcended beyond his normal duties in making multiple felony arrests and attending extra leadership training without being asked to do so. These efforts and dedication have set the benchmark high for other officers to work forward. This year, Officer Blair has arrested multiple suspects and charged them with 171 felony charges. Most of these felony charges were narcotics involving the sale and delivery of methamphetamines and possession of methamphetamines. Officer Blair has a unique ability to turn a traffic stop into a seizure of narcotics and then arrest the narcotics dealers. Most of these suspects are from out of town and bringing their illicit business into our city. This past year, Officer Blair attended a specialized leadership school for law enforcement managers. This school consisted of 360 hours of in-depth education concerning the latest police administration practices. Much of this training required Officer Blair to attend on his days off from duty and required daily drive to and from Salisbury, North Carolina. Officer Ryan is hereby commended for his steadfast dedication to the town of North Wilkesboro and to the citizens he serves. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And,
You got pictures?
One more, you take a hand.
Okay, one more, let's shake your hands. Let's see, I'll hold that. I will give it to you.
Okay.
We have one more, Officer Katie Cleary. It's my honor and pleasure again to read this letter of commendation regarding Officer Katie Cleary. And I remember when she first became an officer and I swore her in, she started, and now my pleasure to read this letter. On Thursday, April 8th, 2023, Officer Katie Cleary was dispatched to a shoplifting call at Napa Auto Parts on West D Street. The suspects had already left the businesses with several hundreds of dollars of power tools that they had not paid for. A description of the suspects and their vehicles were given out over the police radio. Officer Cleary immediately observed the suspect vehicle from a distance on D Street as it turned onto Independence Avenue. Officer Cleary caught up to the suspect vehicle and initiated a traffic stop, activating blue lights on sight. The suspect vehicle sped up in an attempt to elude being captured. The pursuit went into Wilkesboro and ended a short distance at the end of North Street in a residential area. Officer Cleary exited her patrol vehicle and gave verbal commands to the suspects as they got out of their vehicle, and one started running on foot. Officer Cleary was faced with two male suspects, but due to her calmness and professional composure, both suspects halted and followed her commands to surrender as backup officers arrived. These suspects were arrested and found to be in possession of over $4,000 worth of stolen merchandise and over $10,000 worth of illegal narcotics packaged for resale. These suspects were from Winston-Salem and were in our city, preying on our vulnerable citizens and businesses. Officer Katie Cleary is hereby commended for her keen attentiveness and bravery in the apprehension of these two suspects to help citizens have stolen property returned to them, and for her dedication to the town of North Wilkesboro. Thank you. Congratulations, Officer Cleary. Scan on the side of that. And then members of the board turn their packets to
Item 1 second of the meeting.
If they want to stay for pictures after the meetings, it shouldn't be too long of a meeting.
Okay.
It's up to y'all completely.
Yeah. On page 10, is motion to be read, the routine business. Someone approve the one items.
Mr. Mayor, make a motion that we accept the routine consent agenda as written in the agenda packet.
Thank you, Mr. Parsons. A second, please. Thank you, Mr. Church. All those in favor, please raise your right hand, say aye.
Aye.
If not opposed, motion carries. Ms. Minton, you have a town manager's report, please.
I do. I was gonna say,
The first thing for my town manager's report, yesterday was the first day in service of Mr. Tyler Holden, who is our North Carolina Lead Fellow. The Lead Fellow program, is a cooperation between, AmeriCorps and the UNC School of Government. And Mr. Tyler Holden is in the back row back there. We're very excited to have him. He's gonna work on our CIP. He's going to, on our capital improvement plan, he's going to hopefully be creating a succession plan for, our finance director, as she plans to retire in, she says December 2024, but I say never. No, I'm just kidding. I really do hope that she stays as long as she will. We're really excited to have him. He's already been helpful in just the 2 days he's been here. Next, the last week, while I was out of town, I zoomed into a meeting at the county offices where Commissioner Michael Parsons and Mayor Mark Hauser both attended. Jennifer Emo presented on behalf of the Ferguson Group, the lobbyists that we had previously discussed during budget season. She provided some insight into the advantages of using her organization as our federal lobbyist. And I would welcome Mayor Mark Hauser to speak about that meeting a little bit, if you so choose.
I would say, yeah, we had, this was the second meeting we had with Jennifer, and I read their handout they have to learn more about the Ferguson Group. So the only idea is to hire a lobbyist, and because there's a lot of federal money, and a lot of it for sewer and water, which we need out to the track. We also really need it out for the biggest opportunities to the industrial park and a lot of other things. So that's the way it's done, like it or not. So the cost, the most amount of risk is it will benefit town of North Wilkesboro, the town of Wilkesboro, and of course the county. And it's to get more business, more federal money here. It's only federal money, not state. They just operate on a federal level. We have Representative Elmore and Senator Settle for taking care of our needs for the state. But that be that as it may, I think it's very, very important that we do this so that we get our fair share of federal money for North Wilkesboro. And I think you would agree. So then we ask, well, how much? And their fee is going to be $8,000 a month. Now that's
2,000.
well,
2,000.
well, I was thinking total bill.
Oh, 6,000. Yeah.
6?
Yeah, 6,000 a month.
That's even better.
Yeah.
So there's 3 entities, North Wilkesboro, Wilkesboro, and the county, so 6 divided by 3 is 2. So that'd be the maximum we would pay. Maybe we should divvy that up to dues according to population and size, but be that as it may, the worst case scenario, or the most it's gonna cost us be $2,000 a month. So we can sign a contract for a year. However, if a couple of months go by and we decide we're not getting our money's worth, and we maybe this isn't the right group for us, we can give them 30 days notice and terminate. So that's good. So far, so good. So I always like to ask, what's your ROI? What's your return on the investment? So if you're getting 2,000 a month, what do we get? So the ratios have been as low as 4 to 1 and some as high as 8, 9 to 1. That's a great return on your money. So we give them 2,000 a month at the most, and then we get 4 to 1 back, 8 to 1 back. And this is also isn't accomplished overnight. It takes some time. We're betting on the long game. So we've talked about it. We asked all the questions. I was satisfied. I can't speak for anybody but myself, but I think Commissioner Parsons was too, and the county was, and the town of Wilkesboro was. So I think it's a good idea, minimum risk, and I think it would be money well spent for the people of North Wilkesboro.
I think.
Hold on just a minute.
Oh.
Mrs. Nichols.
Can this money, federal money, come and do anything about that storm drain down Main Street? Can some of that money?
No.
Okay.
The storm drain on
Main Street before they repay, that federal stuff come into play with that?
Probably not, Martha. From what I get, you're still talking about a DOT project. And DOT projects are usually not funded at the federal level. So the main thing that I got out of the meeting with the lobbyists would be, they like projects like the talk of our river district, because that's kind of a big picture, kind of big ticket item. Usually would be more in line with that kind of stuff. They don't really, federal money really just doesn't get into like real small nuts. I mean, you know, like I said, they probably would not tread onto the DOT's turf. You know, and so, you know.
I can speak to the Main Street stormwater issue a little bit. So the DOT has talked about repaving Main Street and they have pushed that back. So we do have more of a window now to potentially get stormwater drains in before they repave Main Street. So there is some hope on that front. I would mention that, which I haven't mentioned to you all yet, because I haven't solidified it, but.
You know, like I said, the one thing with the logic that I took out of that was it's not an overnight process, but, the thing that I like about this particular individual, even though she's out of DC and the Ferguson group is out of DC, she has a great deal of experience dealing with small towns, Southern America. Ken Nolan has worked with her when she was working with Lenore. She grew up in Charlotte. She went to schools in the state. So I think she has an understanding of North Carolina. Most of her clients are in the Carolinas and Virginia, some in Tennessee. She does have a few out west, but her concentration seems to be in the southeast. So, I mean, we've got money that we budgeted for it. I can't imagine that any other firm would be, I mean, you know, the fact that we have an out, if we needed it, is, you know, but, you know, I would really like to see us as a board, as a town, proceed with this particular firm if the rest of the members so see fit. Because I do think it puts us at least with a chance to garner some growth opportunities that we might not have had otherwise.
I think, my feedback from other managers in the state of North Carolina who have worked with the Ferguson group or with lobbyists, not just with the Ferguson group, is overwhelmingly positive. The manager out of Mooresville, he said that he had to wait about 1.5 years on return on investment, but when they received that return on investment, it was massive. And that he would not regret building the relationship in any sense of that word. So I also talked to the manager out of Elon and one other, and it was just really positive feedback, really. You know, we've definitely benefited from state earmarks in the past, and I think this is a method for us to benefit on a bigger level. All I need is, I need a head nod from the board, just, it was approved in the budget, but I just wanted to make sure you all are good with signing a contract.
I don't know if that's good.
Okay. Okay. So, all right,
I'm good.
okay, all right. Moving on then, the raw water intake continues to progress. Miguel and Associates are designing the course. The water will travel from the intake site to our treatment facility. I'm still in the process of securing a potential property for the actual raw water intake to be placed on. I think the minimum property area we need is about 1/2 acre. I have 3 potential sites picked, and I'm just negotiating and talking with property owners about those sites at this point. I also contacted the School of Government just to talk about different options that we can pursue in this regard. I should have a better update on this, hopefully midweek next week, so I'll send that out via email. last year, we received a grant from the NCDQ for an MRF study with Withers Ravenel, a merger study. Withers Ravenel, we had a meeting with them, the week before last. Because the active flow project and the raw water intake project are both such big dollar amount projects and they're on, and they're in the works currently. They think that we should put the conclusion of that study on hold until January or February, where we can get solidified cost for the raw water project to use in those projections. And I agree, and it's still within our grant cycle. It doesn't impact us. But I do think that in order for that study to really provide long-term recommendations with any accuracy, we should wait. So that's been put on hold as long as you all are comfortable with it. I felt like Megan Powell, when I spoke with her, she's our liaison with Withers Ravenel. I felt like that was probably best to do until we have some hard numbers in place. As you all are aware, as a town, we try not to spend money from April to September outside of operating. September, by that point, we've got taxes rolling in again, and we feel like we can loosen our purse strings a little bit. In that regard, at the next meeting, you all will be looking at quotes for the CIP process. I've got 2 different scopes of work to provide for you all so that we can pick between a couple different firms to who is going to produce our capital improvement plan that we discussed during budget season. And then also, we hopefully will solidify a recommendation on the Smoke Park pool renovation. I think you all are aware that the Smoke Park pool has a water leak that, and the condition of the pool's plumbing system is not good. So I feel strongly that if we shut it down this year, we could definitely have problems opening it back next year. I think that we need to start construction on that project this fall. I've got, just this morning, I received 3 quotes about the pool renovation. So I'll be sending those to you all via email. It'll be in your next board packet. I have a recommendation. It's actually the lowest cost, but it's also, it's also the company that worked on the splash pad, that completed the splash pad the last time for us and did such a good job. So they are also the lowest bid. So, but I'll provide those in your next board packet. We have, I know you are all aware, in May, we had a town work day where all the town staff worked in our downtown together as a team. Part team building, part downtown spruce up. We, as the leadership team, have decided to do that biannually, so twice a year. And we think we would like to move the spring date back a little bit closer in April, and the fall date we'd like to do at the end of September, right before Apple Festival. Apple Festival is a good time for our community to shine. And so we would like to do a town work day in probably mid-September of this year. So I would welcome you guys, if you have ideas for projects that we need many hands on, to submit those to me so that we can have lots of ideas rolling for the type of work we're going to do as a town team in mid-September. I'm now going to turn it over to Taylor Gann, who's going to provide us. Oh, sorry.
Does anybody have any questions for the town manager?
Oh, I'm not done.
Sorry.
Yeah, no, Taylor's going to do a little bit of my manager's report. She's going to provide I should have phrased that differently. I apologize. Taylor's going to provide you guys with some statistics. We have been, as I'm sure you're aware, Taylor's been working really diligently to get us in compliance so that we can maintain work, so that we can get our North Carolina Main Street accreditation back as a community. And part of that process is turning in various statistics regarding our downtown. And she provided some of those to us this morning, and I thought you all would like to hear them.
So the Main Street reinvestment statistics were collected from July 1st, 2022 to June 30th, 2023. And this information was collected from downtown property and business owners, the Wilkes County Tax Assessor's Office, County GIS system, building permit applications, observation and communication with community members, and an online survey. the biggest things I wanted to point out in this report were, we had a total of 13 projects completed in downtown. So these are just for our downtown district. We had 3 facades redone, 8 building rehabilitation projects completed, and 2 public improvement projects. We had a net gain of 45 jobs in downtown for the year. 17 businesses expanded. We had 134 volunteer hours. And 50% of the money spent while downtown was during Apple Festival, Small Business Saturday, and Light Up Downtown from the 11 downtown events that we had. And these numbers were, this is probably a smaller representation. I only had 30 businesses complete the survey, and only a portion of those businesses provided economic impact numbers, like dollar amounts. So the $207,000 collected was only from 13 businesses for 11 events. So the numbers should be much larger than that.
Next time, like door knocker, get that information.
I think moving forward, I would like to do a survey and door knocking and phone call contact every quarter, at the end of a quarter, to keep track of this kind of information instead of for the entire year in the month of
Because otherwise
July.
we won't have information.
We want to be accurate, please.
Right.
And this type of data is really good for grant applications and for things of that nature moving forward. So I feel like we're moving in the right direction.
So,
And also, I thought those statistics kind of framed downtown in a positive light. So, now, I was gonna say, now I would open the floor to emerging issues.
anybody have any questions for the town manager or Ms. Gann regarding her report? None?
Not about that.
Okay, well then, go ahead and merge.
Emerging issues, yes.
Being that school is about to start back and we have a new principal at North Wilkesboro, something that I brought up in the past about what can we do for the schools in our district to help them. One of the things that I've always thought we could do is help them maintain the landscaping, make the school look nice starting out. I think of the 5 things that are important that for people that may move here, move their businesses here, schools is at the top of that list. And I'm just wondering if there's any way the town could help with stuff like that.
I think we could do, I could definitely call the new principal and see if she's open to having, town employees work, but prior in the next couple weeks, maybe a half work day out at the school, do some landscaping. We have some mulch at the garage that we could use to kind of improve their landscaping, touch it up before the kids come back, spruce it up a little bit, do maybe like a 4-hour, like a half day with town employees during the work week. Yeah, we could absolutely do that. And then we could also ask volunteers. I know that I've had an individual from the public contact us about wanting to help get the trail behind the school
Yes.
cleaned up. And I mentioned that to David Webb, our public works director, and he said that he felt like we could take a bobcat and some chainsaws out there and get the fire department involved, hopefully. And we could clean that trail up probably in a half day. So I think that we could definitely approach the new principal of North Wilkesboro and try to make that happen.
Well, if you need a head nod from me or a vote, you got it.
I
And
was gonna say, I would definitely like a head nod from you all before I use employees.
if you need a volunteer, I'll do it.
That sounds good. I'll try to communicate with her tomorrow so that I can get a date lined up.
CC, right?
Yeah,
Yep.
Commissioner Hall just mentioned CC right too, yeah.
I was gonna say, well, I could contact both of them. So are you guys saying you wanna dedicate like 4 hours to both schools?
Well, they're both in our newsletter, not mine.
Okay, I'll see what I can work out.
Yeah, we can't pick one and not do both.
I know, I was gonna say, okay, we'll see what we can work out with both of them. We might do one this semester and one next semester, I mean, just depending on what we've got. We've only got a few weeks before school starts,
Right.
so, and I wanna be conscious of staff time as well. employee time.
I would encourage you to develop relationships with your principals to see what they may need. The
Yeah,
counties fund them, but like, we can do more to help them and make the 2 elementary schools in our district the best ones in the county. I think that's good.
I think so too. I think, and I know that they could use the help from a prior perspective. I know that they could use the help.
Okay.
So, okay, that sounds great.
All set.
Me and Holly were educated at this.
We were,
Good.
we were.
Move on then to, item 11, consideration of new business and, board return to page 15, please. And Ms. Smith, you're up again.
Included in your packet this round is, a non-discrimination policy. We previously, you might remember this policy from about a year ago. With the, reporting, we received ARPA funding, that was funneled through the state of North Carolina. To receive that ARPA funding, we have higher standards of internal controls. This policy in your packet was included, you approved by resolution a little over a year ago, but some of the language in there wasn't, didn't carry longevity with it. So we need to redo it with language just referring to the complaint process being reported to the town manager, rather than to a specific person. The higher standards of internal controls will also bring multiple other policies that we need to pass within the next couple of months, prior to receiving reimbursements for the raw water intake. The raw water intake, because we received $15 million for our raw water intake, and that money originates and it originated in the federal government and it is being funneled through the state government to us. We are being held to the same standards as, that the US Treasury would like us to be held to. So you will see in the next 2 months, a myriad of policies that we need to pass in order to get in compliance. I had a meeting with the North Carolina Department of Environmental Quality about the standards that we need to meet, and because of that, we need to kind of take a deep dive into these. Last year, you passed, I think, 6 new policies in this regard to create internal controls that were a little more stringent, and this year, because of just that dollar amount being higher and it also being project oriented, we're gonna have to pass just several more. There's nothing in here that is, I think, racy or anything that is necessarily gonna draw much argument, but we will need to. The UNC School of Government has provided examples of all of these policies, so that we can get in compliance, and we just need to work through them one by one. We do have to revise our grievance policy, which it'll be introduced at the next meeting. We need to kind of bulk that up. We have a grievance policy in our personnel policy, but we need to probably rewrite it. It hasn't been rewritten in about 18 years. So it's time to change some language. And not that there's anything wrong with it, but we need to create greater standards for our town staff. If you all would, I know that you have probably already looked at this non-discrimination policy. I would look to you all for guidance and potentially a passing of this non-discrimination policy as a resolution tonight, if you so choose.
Okay, Commissioner Day?
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion to approve the attached resolution.
Thank you. Now, second, please. Thank you, Commissioner Church. All those in favor, please raise your right hand, say aye. Aye. If none opposed, motion carried. Anything else, Ms. Smith?
No, sir.
Anyone else have anything else? Not hearing that, Commissioner Church, take us home. I make a motion to adjourn. Thank you. Need a second, please? No. Need a second, please?
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner Day. All those in favor, please